How's it going,
Hey,
guys?
good, good. I was just going to introduce. Do you want to bring Sarah? Oh, there she is.
I was
Hey,
like,
Sarah.
Tyler.
Oh,
Oh,
very
hi,
cool.
Neil. Hi, Alan.
Uh,
Hi,
Hey,
family.
hey. I
Hi,
was just want to
Sarah.
say before Tyler does the formal introduction that Sarah is part of that revolution. I mean, she has taken this whole idea of HTCC, whatever, whatever Dolores Cannon started. Sarah's taken it to a whole other level. Sarah, you are getting so popular and so good and so well known with the information you're bringing through. It is really a gift to this emerging culture. So thanks for being here today.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you. Gosh, it's my
Absolutely.
honor.
Very.
Always good. And Tyler is here to do the formal introductions.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to day 3 of Portal to Ascension. If you are just joining us, if you've been here all day, cheers to you. Sarah, hello. I hope you're doing wonderfully. And for those who need an introduction for Sarah, she's not one who needs an introduction, but Sarah is the best-selling author of A Hypnotist's Journey to Atlantis, A Hypnotist's Journey to the Sphinx. I often refer to her as the carrier of the Dolores Cannon QHHT torch. I like to throw Dr. Brian Weiss in there as well because I'm a huge fan of his work. And I'm a huge fan of Sarah's. And I'm looking very much forward to hearing her speak today. Sarah and I are both from Florida, so I want to throw a quick prayer out there and positive tension for the state of Florida today for what they've gone through this past week with the storms. And Sarah, I hope you're doing wonderfully today. You look great. You look glowing. And I look so much forward to hearing your talk today.
Oh, thanks, Tyler. Oh my gosh, I love all of you guys so much. It's just like one big family of people, trying to help one another and enlighten ourselves, because that's basically what it's all about. And I was listening in on the other presenter, and I was thinking, now is not the best time to drink this. So,
That always happens, right?
thank you for am I pronouncing it right? Jihin? That was so enlightening. Thank you. I think I'm going to throw my Starbucks
Throw
out
that Starbucks out.
so I can just get rid of my matcha addiction. I mean, it's true what he was saying, because even the higher selves of my clients will say, you could really tune in better if you don't drink so much caffeine. So yeah, I'm not perfect.
Yeah. Well, I
But
must admit, I'm right there with you, Sarah. I drink a little too much caffeine sometimes too.
but
We
we
can all
need these
improve.
reminders, don't we? It's like nobody's perfect. We're all in this together. And thank you for praying for Florida, because I'm actually displaced. I mean, I'm lucky. I live in the Florida Keys, and we were very, very lucky. The storm went north of us, but I went to go fly back to Miami a couple days ago, and we were on the plane, and the airport closed. The Miami airport closed, and they turned our plane around. And so I'm actually staying at my family's house in Pennsylvania. That's why I'm wearing a sweater. So,
Yeah, I was
and
gonna say it doesn't look like you're in Florida right now, but you never really can tell. But that's great. I'm glad that one, your home and your family in the Keys were avoided, and two, that you're in Pennsylvania safe.
but I know what it's like. So I'm just praying for everyone that was affected. And it's terrible to have to go through it. But I know for myself, whenever we've had hurricanes, that so much growth came for me. It doesn't make it easier, but
Of course.
it is. So today, what I'm going to basically present, because I do not have my slides, they're on my Florida computer, is I'm going to talk about my most recent sessions that have had a really big impact on me. So that is what I'm going to share today.
That sounds really awesome, Sarah, and I'm sure folks are really going to be tuning in for this because your name is a star. You're growing. You're a shining star in this and many other. I don't like to use the word industry, but I guess field, industry, movement, etc. So, cheers to you, and everybody. Welcome Sarah Breskman Cosme. Woo. Give it a round of applause to those at home.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so hi, family. What I want to share are some of the most memorable sessions that I've had recently, some of the most shocking things for me. So, first of all, one thing that I love to talk about is that I had this client in under hypnosis. Well, she had cancer. Okay, she had stage 4 lung cancer, I believe, and the very root cause was grief that her higher self said. But her higher self gave her a remedy. Okay, so coming out of her higher self was this remedy that she had never heard before. Now, this is an actual remedy. A lot of people can get this at an Asian market. I am going to give you this remedy right now. So this is what helped my client tremendously. Of course, I am not a medical doctor. I am not saying this can heal you. I'm saying this is extremely powerful, that people are healing themselves from this remedy. And when I was thinking about what I could share with you guys that would be the most impactful, I would like to share this as one of them. So she was told to take one large dried reishi mushroom, like about this size. You can get them at some of the Asian markets in your area or order it on Amazon. She was told to take one large reishi mushroom, a handful of organic goji berries, and 2 dates. Bring these to a boil in pure water and let it simmer for an hour and a half. Okay, she was told that she needed to drink 3 cups of this a day and that her cancer would go away. Okay, let me just tell you, her cancer did go away. I'm also going to share, of course, I'm not a medical doctor, all right, that I've given this remedy to many people. And if you know me and you are friends with me, you know that I have shared this remedy with many people, and many people have had such profound effects that we just call it the miracle cure. Okay, so you take these ingredients, you bring it to a boil. Remember, you have to let it simmer for an hour and a half. What is happening is the cancer fighting properties of these mushrooms. Now, this was given to my client under hypnosis. All right, so you let it sit for an hour and a half simmering, and then pour it into a glass. It has to be glass container. If your symptoms are severe, she was told to drink 3 cups a day. And then I drink 1 cup a day when I'm home. Now, my husband, who doesn't really care for any of this stuff, he used to have this wart, and I made him drink it, and it fell off. So it's pretty amazing what comes out. So that's one of the most memorable sessions that, and information that I've had in a while, and very impactful. So I'm going to talk about another session that was very impactful for me. In this session, this woman was remembering being a man in this past life in, I guess it was probably the 1800s. So she remembered being a man in the 1800s, and he lived with his wife, and he loved his wife tremendously. In fact, that was like his whole world. And he just really enjoyed her company and loved her so much. It was so endearing how much he loved her. Well, his wife got sick, and I think she had some sort of fever, and there was no real cure for that back then. And she passed, and it was just extremely agonizing for this man whose like whole world was his wife. He loved her so much, and he just felt so devastated that he felt as if there was nothing left to live for. In fact, after she passed, he wanted to die, and he wished for death. So he spent his days just wishing that he would get sick. A couple times he got sick, and he thought maybe this is it. Maybe he would finally be reunited with his wife. So years go by, and he finally decides he's going to get a gun and shoot himself. So he shoots himself and he dies. And as soon as he dies, he's greeted by his wife. And he's so excited to see her, to reunite with her. And she's not excited to see him. And what was so interesting is here he was finally being reunited with her. And she tells him, look, we can't be together. We're not going to experience our next life together because you didn't fulfill your purpose. And your purpose was to experience years alone and finding happiness within yourself. So by taking your own life, you not only robbed yourself of your true mission, the lesson behind this life, but you robbed our our relationship. And now we have to wait until you fulfill this purpose and do this life again. It's in a sense only harder, and then we will be reunited. And so what's so interesting and what I've learned throughout all these hypnosis, subjects or these different sessions that I've done, that it seems like when you do take your own life, as hard as things get, and it feels like you just want to end it for some people, that really isn't the answer to anything, because it just seems like when you get to the in-between and you know all the answers again, that there are these lessons that you came into your life to learn. And these lessons are always the hardest thing to learn. It's the one thing that you're trying so hard to accomplish, the hardest issue you have in your life. That's why you came into this life. So sometimes these things feel so insurmountable and so hard, but chances are you've been spending a lot of time, a lot of work trying to overcome these, trying to learn these lessons. And even when you get back to the in-between, a lot of us realize that we take lessons and we take classes trying to learn and fulfill these missions in this lifetime. So that was very interesting. Okay, now I'm going to go into the most memorable extraterrestrial hypnosis sessions that I've started having recently. Okay, these are the most recent ones. What has been resurfacing through the collective unconscious of my clients are memories of this galactic war. Okay, it's really interesting. It's interesting to me, and I find it really fascinating, how people's memories collectively start to resurface at a certain period of times, okay? So right now, if you're another QHHT practitioner, you do this kind of work, you probably know what I'm talking about. In the collective subconscious, memories of this galactic war started resurfacing like crazy. And people are remembering interesting lifetimes, like about remembering like living basically in the Vega star system, the Lyran star system. And they started to realize that there's so much more to our galactic history than we've ever been told. And what's really fascinating is that this kind of information seems to be showing up in our physical bodies as clues. So people are starting to show different clues as to what influence, galactic influence, is actually being projected through them, which is really quite fascinating. So what I've come to understand from so many different sessions is that even your eye color and blood type actually is a clue. It means something. I mean, I always thought for so long that that was just a genetic trait that people would have, but actually that's not the case at all. It's actually telling information, showing clues, and it's actually broadcasting that information to other people. So I like to talk about the fact that all the rings around your iris and even your pupil color show the blueprint of your soul. So when you're communicating with another soul, what's actually happening is this divine light that's being channeled through you comes through your eyes and goes into the other person's eyes, straight into their soul, actually. And the other person's soul is reading the blueprint of your soul. And through the blueprint of your eyes is actually transmitting a lot of information. So there's something to be said about being activated from other people. You can just have a conversation with someone, look into their eyes, and feel as if something's happening on a deeper level. Maybe you're remembering that person in a way, or maybe you're actually being triggered by the blueprint of their soul, because it seems like a lot of people are starting to trigger each other's memories just by being in the proximity of one another. So what I've started to understand is that if you are broadcasting, when I say broadcasting, I mean your eye color might actually change, and people do experience eye colors changing. If your eyes are broadcasting the color blue, usually what that is, according to my clients and the higher selves, is that you're broadcasting ancient information from a totally different star system. And these people are usually broadcasting information from one of the water planets. Now, they seem to be very, very old souls and carry through their unconscious really ancient memories of other star systems where there were a lot of like beautiful sea life. And even just looking into somebody's eyes who has blue eyes can transmit some of this ancient knowledge from these other galactic places. Now, I'm sure many of you have heard about like people coming to this galactic plane as a volunteer. Well, there's so many volunteers that are here just sharing information from other places, from other star systems, and that helps tremendously to raise the consciousness. So a lot of people with blue eyes would be almost like projecting information from one of these water planets in general. If you have like a crown around your pupil, and in general, this would be on like somebody with lighter eyes, so a little crown around their pupil, it's usually a telltale sign that you're broadcasting and projecting information from the Pleiadian star system. Now, what's interesting about these star systems is they're almost like other versions of yourself. So you yourself are multi-dimensional. You are not just your physical body. It really appears that we are living on multiple dimensions all at once. But the most important life that you're experiencing is the one that you're fully focused in right now. But if you have a little crown around your pupil, it's usually a telltale sign. And I started learning this even back when I was working on my Atlantis material, because that was being shared even then. So it's a clue that you're projecting Pleiadian information in general. And if you were to use that clue or any of these clues, what you would do is to sit quietly with yourself and try to tune in to this information, and it could really greatly benefit you in your life. If you have any gold in your iris at all, like golden yellow, that's usually a telltale sign that you're projecting information from Andromeda. But what's amazing about that is a lot of people with any yellow or gold in their eyes, that you could actually tune into different mathematical equations, because it seems like the Andromedans are really helping people on this earth plane that have a little gold in their eyes actually develop and assimilate some of these mathematical equations and different abilities like that. Many people with a little bit of gold in their eyes also remember that when they are sleeping, they are sometimes taken away on ships, and they are doing a lot of work in the galactic plane. If you have green eyes, it seems to be a total clue that you're projecting information from the Lyran star system. And it's almost like a higher plane of information. So it's coming down through the top of your head, out through your eyes, projecting this information. And a lot of times people with green eyes cannot be in the same room as some type of electronics because it's from such a different plane that it doesn't really it interferes with some of our technology. A lot of people with green eyes are very psychic. It's also really fascinating to me that in ancient Egypt, a lot of the pharaohs had green eyes, red hair, and astigmatism and Rh negative blood, which that combination alone seems to be entirely tuned in, very, very tuned in, and receiving a lot of messages from many different galactic planes. And brown eyes seem to be transmitting ancient information from the earth plane, or the what people consider to be the inner earth. So in general, people that have brown eyes in general seem to be very, very old souls, usually have reincarnated a lot on the earth plane and are projecting a lot of this ancient information. Really interesting to me because I have brown eyes and I do seem to be reincarnating here quite a lot according to the higher self. It's really interesting too because these eye colors and clues that are coming through my clients under hypnosis are just so fascinating to me because there's this group, this collective that consider themselves the Tuatha De Danann, and there are still incarnated Tuatha De Danann, and they seem to live in caves, kind of on the edge of society. You probably wouldn't run into them, but they do reincarnate a lot, and they do show up with clues as well. And their eyes seem to come across as a light brown, kind of like vibrant light brown, and they seem to be very playful when they're reincarnating into the population to bring that consciousness into this earth plane. So the whole blood type thing is really interesting to me because what it appears is that different blood types are also clues, and you can actually activate your particular blood type by going to a certain place on the earth, actually, because certain places on the earth hold certain ley lines which actually activate your particular blood type or even your soul DNA. So it's just very general. I mean, these are the types of things that I hear in these sessions when my clients are deep under hypnosis and I'm speaking to the collective subconscious. So if you have the A blood type, in general, you're carrying a lot of Norse information. And if you were to go to a place like Glastonbury, you could really activate that particular type of blood type. If you can drink from the chalice well, there's a really interesting mineral in the chalice well that actually does something to people with the A blood type, which is really super fascinating. So a lot of people with the A blood type are also reincarnated Druids. And there's a clue that people do carry forth in their current lifetime simply as a clue, and that is anemia. And so a lot of times these clues they serve a function, and that is to bring you to search inwards for the answer, as all the other clues that we have on our bodies whenever we get an issue like a physical illness or something like that, that is to lead us inwards to find the answer. But anemia is one of those clues for the most part in general. And so people with anemia, it is usually serving the clue to remind you that you could be a reincarnated fairy or a druid. And the reason why these fairies, or from anyone from the fairy realm, couldn't handle iron was because during the Iron Age, the suffering of the earth during the Iron Age greatly affected this realm in particular, like the Druids and the fairies, because we're all so connected to the earth. The earth itself is almost just like us. So it's a reflection of us in a sense, but we are so much more connected to the earth than our society really leads us to believe. But the fairy realm was way more connected to the earth because they still had these memories and still understood this. And when iron was being extracted from the earth in the way that it was, it in turn affected the fairy kingdom as well as the Druids. So many people reincarnating from this time now show up with that clue. And it could simply be a clue. What my clients are being told to do is to go to a place like Glastonbury to activate this DNA, to drink out of the chalice well, but also to find themselves a really good source of raw honey and to start ingesting or working with this raw honey. So, what's interesting is that to work with a plant, you don't necessarily have to ingest it. The plant has a very strong consciousness. And when you yourself are recognizing the strong consciousness of a plant, that or a substance that is a natural substance, that in turn enables the consciousness of this substance to start working with you. So my clients are being told all the time to start developing a relationship with their natural surroundings, which I'll get into in a second because I want to talk more about the other blood types and activating of those. So if you have AB blood type, that's a really interesting blood type because it seems to be a very direct line to particular types of extraterrestrials. And also people with AB blood type seem to be very balanced in their ability to activate not only the Norse information and the Druid information and fairy information, but the B blood type, which is very tied to Lemuria and to some of these South Pacific ancient lifetimes and abilities that are flowing through that blood type. So keep in mind that through your whole genetic lineage, of course, we always talk about the traumas that come through our genetic lineage, that you are the leading ancestor. And one of the reasons you are here is to heal your genetic line. But don't forget you have abilities flowing through your genetic line that have been very suppressed for thousands and thousands of years. So in general, people with the B blood type carry forth a lot of ancient information from Lemuria. So if you have the B blood type, you might want to go to even any place like Hawaii, any place in the South Pacific. Just feeling the air, getting in that area can be enough to really activate this blood type. One way to activate the blood types according to the different blood types that you have is to actually place your hands on some of the megalithic structures. I mean, we usually talk about the different chakras in our bodies, but the palms of your hands have chakras, and the soles of your feet do. And when extraterrestrials are, starting their technology, most of them, what they do is they put the bottoms of their bare feet on the ground and then the palms of their hands in, usually it depends on what type of other version of humanity extraterrestrial we're talking about, but a lot of times they put their hands in fingerprints, and this creates a circuit. So if you think about other versions of yourselves, extraterrestrial technology, you reenact that at these megalithic structures. So what you would want to do to fully activate yourself is to place your bare feet on the ground and the palms of your hands touching this megalithic structure, because the ancient structures were built in a way to activate the people that would come to them. So when you do this and you you are creating a circuit, and it is lighting up your pineal gland, and it is activating your dormant DNA, and it will start to translate this information into your subconscious. And then it will come into your conscious when your conscious mind is ready for it. So it's not always, sometimes instant, and you know all these things again, but most of the time for most people it's very gradual. Otherwise it would be really hard to handle, but some people are ready for that, and you know who you are. So if you have RH negative blood, that's such a fascinating blood type because it seems to be considered the gift of the stars. So even back when I was working on my Atlantis material, it seemed as if the RH negative blood type was directly attached to a certain type of extraterrestrial seeders that seeded this population. And if you have RH negative blood, there's actually different abilities that you have that other people don't. There's actually certain illnesses that you will never get, just like all the other blood types. It's really quite fascinating. So if you do have the RH negative blood type, understand that you do have special abilities. One of these abilities is actually personality type. So people with the RH negative blood in general have a personality type where they are usually natural leaders, which is really quite interesting. But if you have green eyes, RH negative blood, and red hair, and astigmatism, this was, like I said before, considered the gift of the stars. So astigmatism is not a disability in any sense. It might feel like one to people that have astigmatism, but that's actually a different shape of your eye so that you can tune into different dimensions. All the quote unquote disabilities are actually huge abilities. Just like ADD and ADHD, it's actually, I know it's hard to experience these things, but that's actually an ability to see things from a different perspective and to see greater. If you have RH negative blood, then one of the ways that you could really activate your DNA would be to go to Egypt. That is one of the best ways to do it. Maybe if you find yourself an Egypt tour, or come on mine. I'll show you how to do it. And just go up to any of these megalithic structures. You could, it would help you to activate your DNA if that was something you wanted to do. The O blood type is really interesting. I also started learning about the O blood type when I was working on my Atlantis information, because it seemed like everyone from Atlantis had the O blood type. But the O blood type is really interesting. So the O blood type seems to carry information from all of these different places. And so if you wanted to activate the O blood type, you in general could go to any of these places but touch one of the megalithic structures. And what I mean by these type of structures are the very ancient ones, the ones that were actually crafted with special crystals that are, they're seamless. You can tell the difference. They're not new in any sense, but they do have special material in there that would work almost like extraterrestrial technology, that you could create this circuit just by touching it. It might look a little weird, but most of the people that go to these places are probably thinking the same thing. So, if you go on one of my trips, we're all weird and we're all doing all that stuff. So anyway, so these. Oh, and I forgot an eye color. One thing about hazel eyes that I forgot to mention is usually if you have any flecks of light in your eyes, it's usually projecting information from Arcturus. And that was just coming through so many sessions where my clients were asked questions about, if they have any clues on their body, and their higher self would say, oh yes, your eye color, or oh yes, blood type, or different freckles in this certain shape mean something, or if you have a birthmark, that's a clue. It's really interesting, but essentially it makes sense, doesn't it? It's like all these clues that we have that show up on our bodies, or even illnesses or issues, are leading us to the same place, which is essentially inwards. You hear it all the time. It's like, go inwards, go inwards. But how do you really do that? I mean, sure, you get quiet with yourself, and sometimes it can feel a little frustrating because you don't receive all the answers all at once like you want to. But there's also a reason for that, and that is because this is a journey, and we're supposed to enjoy the journey. Like, even for instance, if you received all your answers about all the questions you have, then it wouldn't really be a search for these answers. And maybe your search takes you to learn something new, or takes you to a new class, or takes you on one of my Egypt trips, or takes you somewhere really cool, because this journey is basically why we're here. Because when you pass and you go to the in-between, all these things again. And what's really interesting is, not everybody is on the spiritual journey. I mean, of course, all you guys like watching these presenters, you guys are, and you probably ask the same questions that I do, because we are all in this together. But I always wondered, why do other people why are they not interested in this stuff that I'm interested in? I mean, I want to know all the secrets of the universe, and I want to like enlighten myself. Maybe I will quit matcha, probably not today though, but someday I will quit matcha and, better myself. But not everybody wants to do these things. And so I asked the higher self, how come everyone's not into this stuff? It's really fun. I mean, it's fun to see these synchronicities. It's fun to be led to these different people or learn something new. And the higher self said, well, when you pass, you remember that you are God. And so everyone deep down remembers, in a sense, that they will know everything again when they pass. So if you think about that, and the higher self said, so if you think about that, when you get back to the in-between, you know everything again. You have the answers to everything again. Well, some people didn't come here to learn and remember all the answers. Some people came here to experience that separation from God. So essentially, you're here to experience a separation, to remember that you're God, to then learn everything and then pass and then do it again. But some people came here to not do that, to experience this separation, to not feel guilty when they drink matcha all day long. I mean, and they're eating bad foods. They don't care. And they don't really care about learning about themselves because they want that separation. Because when they pass, and they know this on a level, when they pass, they will remember it all again. And they want to experience the separation and really feel separated. So when we see people that are not into this stuff, there may be a reason for that. And they may just want to experience the separation. And they also might be generously holding the negativity for us too, because essentially what is so fascinating is that negativity and the people that you would consider super mean and just like kind of spew out this negativity that's hard. It's really getting harder and harder to be around a person that's super negative when you yourself are working on yourself and you're experiencing this ascension. The difference in the energies can feel really difficult to be around. But what I've learned is that this negative energy is propelling the motion of the positive energy. So without the negativity, without people generously playing the negative role, we wouldn't have this ascension process at all. So what I've been told is they should be thanked and really honored for sharing this negativity with us, because without them, we wouldn't have this growth. It's almost like an atom splitting. So it goes in, it's almost like propelling the splitting. And without the negativity, we would just not be growing at all. So despite how hard everything can be, and despite how hard it is to even experience negativity in these hardships, there's a reason for everything. Every single thing in your life has a meaning. Every single thing has a reason. And really, we're just all here for this journey of enlightenment, or to experience the separation. Whatever you're here for, there's no wrong in any of it. It's all exactly as it should be. But one way you could tell that you are on the positive timeline or moving in the right direction is you will start to experience these synchronicities, these repeating numbers. You might even feel like you're experiencing deja vu. You might just feel as if things are working out in a way that feels like a dream, because it feels like it's almost unreal. And that's because you are being initiated in this spiritual path, and you are definitely on the positive timeline if you experience any of those things. Essentially what happens is, as soon as a person becomes curious at all and they start seeking inwards, the universe is a reflection and starts getting curious about you, and you solidify yourself into the initiation path. So if you're starting to see signs and synchronicities, that's a really good thing. It means you're in alignment, and it means you're following the right path. It doesn't mean you're not going to have challenges. It just means you're doing something right. So good job. Pat yourself on the back. And I don't know if I ran out of time. I don't want to go too far over, but I do want to say that I love you all, and every single one of you, and we're all in this together. And despite all the wonderful things said about me earlier, we are all the same, and I just want to share my love, and thank you so much.
Beautiful. Thank you, Sarah. It's so amazing how intricately connected and how meaningful every single thing is. When it comes to like how our past lives affect this reality, when it comes to the water from the chalice well, right? And all these different codes have just been, it's almost like there's just clues everywhere, hidden in plain sight.
Yeah, everywhere. It's so fun. It's like a scavenger hunt. Everybody's on, they just don't realize it.
Right. And I feel like in your books, you speak about these different traits as well, because I've heard you say a few of them before, like the green eyes, never heard the hazel eye one. So it's almost like an encyclopedia for how to track our heritage.
It is. It's been coming through like crazy. It's just been shared. It'll be in my next book, which should be out in the next couple months, hopefully. It's just, I would have had that book out earlier, but my mom is my editor, and she started becoming activated. Like once we got on chapter 4, she started seeing light beings. So
whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. And is this one hypnosis to Avalon?
Yeah.
Hypnotherapist. Oh, I can't wait for that one. Okay, so that comes out in 2 months, huh?
Yeah, 2 months.
You couldn't come to our last Glastonbury one, but hopefully next time we do it, you can come, because I feel like you need to.
I'd love to. It was too close to my Egypt trip, so I just got back. It's too much.
I think I'm skipping. I'm not sure I might skip next year, but it might be in 2 years, so you have more than enough time to plan for it. But definitely want to see you there. All right, Sarah, thank you so much for your energy and everything that you do. I really appreciate you, and I'm excited for everything that you're going to be doing. The conference coming up soon too. Also happening now. It's going to be great.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm so excited.
Thanks, Sarah. Okay, we'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.